When does the fantasy start?
Elias hits the deck. This skeleton just slices across him. So you roll Elias over, and he is only mostly dead. I am Astiographis. The golden radiance of the gods has returned. I would need even but a single drop of water from my lake. Knowledge is your greatest weapon. Seek out the caretakers. If I have survived, they might have done also. You bring to mind an ancient tale of the heroes who sealed the Ancient Ones away. There is a painting of a beautiful woman, and lying on this bed is the woman from the painting. And you see that her ears are actually elven. And she says something you don't understand. You open your eyes and find that Bear is licking your face.
Okay.
And you are in a heap at the bottom of the stairs.
The fact of the matter is, this place is cursed.
So, Grandel, you're obviously led at the bottom of the stairs. You've got this heat in your back, this bottle at your side, and you are basically covered in this, like, sticky, like, what you thought was wine.
Oh, is it Monday morning again?
So you look up at the group who are all stood there on the stairs above you. Bear is licking your face and really seems to like the taste of this liquid that you've spilled, that spilled from the bottle.
Right.
You kind of, realising that you kind of have this taste in your mouth, you kind of, you know, it tastes of like honey and cloves, and you have never had anything like that in your life. And you kind of lick your lips involuntarily as you kind of try and place this flavour, because it feels kind of familiar but completely unusual to you at the same time somehow.
Right. And I obviously didn't notice this when I was originally drinking it, quote unquote.
No, you basically just like swigged it as you were walking down the stairs, and then the next thing you remember was obviously
bottom of the stairs.
But
Cool,
as you lick your lips, you hear the words that the woman said to you, the woman in the bed.
Yeah.
And it kind of stays in your head a bit more this time. Obviously, she spoke to you in a different language. You assume it was Elven because she looked Elven herself. And the words she said were Clanit dis Yaxi Jun Tadulan Bukulan.
Wow.
I was going to attempt to write that down, and I wrote down clan.
I remember that. Do I?
You kind of, yes, you that
sort of stuck in my brain.
It's kind of stuck in your brain. You just know that now. That phrase, you know that phrase. It feels important. Yeah, so that again for you is Clanit dis Yaxi Jun da Tadulan Bukulan.
Sorry, mate. Tadulan. What was the last
Tadulan Bukulan.
Bokalan. I'm going to make a character choice to not make a note of that.
Nice.
Because why the hell would Gary?
Gary wouldn't know, and Gary hasn't heard it, so he would know.
Well, in fairness, it's in
Grandel's
My
head.
brain.
Yeah.
Hold up,
So just whilst we're kind of in this kind of freeze frame at the beginning of the kind of episode, I suppose, that's kind of what you're experiencing right now, Grandel. Elias, as you look down from the stairs on Grandel, you notice two things. The first is that there is this kind of very strong aura of magic just fading away from him. And the second is that the bottle of wine by his side is also very magical. So you kind of see that. And Nyla, as you kind of look down at Bear, like, get off him. He like looks up at you and he kind of unmistakably grins at you. He definitely is like, it's a cheesy grin. And he kind of goes to take a step towards you and then just stumbles and collapses. And that is where we'll drop back into the action.
I'm going to look at poor Bear trying to stand up I'm gonna look at Grandel and look back at Bear and look at Grandel and be like, "What did you do to Bear? And if you've hurt him, I will murder you."
Grandel is just very much in his own head, repeating this phrase over and over again, thinking about all of the things that he saw that apparently didn't happen. He hasn't noticed that Bear's fallen over. He's just stood sort of staring into the middle distance in thought.
Okay, I'm gonna walk down the stairs therefore and like try and examine Bear to see what the hell has happened to him.
I'm going to walk down the stairs and see if I can examine the wine.
Yep, cool. So, Elias, make me
So-called.
make me an arcane law check, Elias, and Nyla, give me a wilderness law.
Here goes. It's a 16, which is a success. Just
Quiz. Lovely.
Mine's a 14 and it's a success.
So, Bear looks like he's asleep, Nyla. And Elias, you can kind of put two and two together that this is... Bear's probably just, like, he is definitely asleep. This bottle, you can kind of, you look at it and you kind of smell it and you kind of look at the bottle itself. You can tell that this is actually a bottle of nectar. It's a mead that is made from the honey, which is collected by bees who live in the Elven Forest.
okay.
Essentially, a bottle of this mead takes years to make because the honey is only collected under a full moon. The pollen is only collected under a full moon by these bees who are raised by magic users. The honey is essentially used to make divination magic more powerful, and if it's drank in like any amount, it generally sends the drinker into a very deep sleep and gives them very vivid dreams, which many people, like basically all of the elves and most magic users, they believe that these dreams are often prophetic in nature, which is the reason why it's so rare and so hard to get hold of. And you've never even actually seen a bottle of this nectar, you've only read about it.
Would I recognise it, Jack?
You wouldn't recognise it, but if Elias says it's nectar, you'll be like, oh well, shit.
The first
Like,
thing
that's-
I'll try and do
yeah.
is see if I can salvage any.
Yeah, there's maybe like a couple of teaspoons at the bottom of the bottle that hasn't kind of dripped out.
Because if some of you guys are real lucky, we can get real fucked up later on.
So lucky.
So Grendel kind of comes back to himself. He sees Bear sort of asleep on the floor and doesn't really think too much about it. He goes over to Elias and sort of looks at the bottle and says, "All right, laddie, what's the damage? How cursed is it?"
Not very cursed, Grandel. Fortunately for you, its effects were only temporary.
Oh, that's good.
Where did you get it from?
It was just by a pile of rubble outside, by the entrance to the wine cellar. Just sat out there.
Convenient.
Jack, I can't remember if you said, was it like dusty? Was it sort of?
I think I used the sentence.
Quite clean?
It looked specifically as if it had been placed there.
Which I didn't think twice about. Booze.
Well, I mean, this may interest you, Nyla, but this particular bottle is a bottle of nectar.
Oh God! And you've given it to a tiger?
I didn't give it to anybody. I drank a portion, and
How much?
I imagine like a third of the bottle's probably gone.
Easily.
Couple of good
So
swigs.
basically, you will have chugged, taken a big swig out of it, maybe gotten even a second one, and then you passed out and fell down the stairs, and the rest of it just ended up all over you.
You do realise that's a lot, right?
Well, I do
That's
now. I didn't know what I was
Wow.
dealing with.
Cool.
I'll be honest, it's a lot better than that moonshine we had out in the hut.
Hey, I'll work really hard on that.
Aye, mate, but this stuff's a good shit, you know.
Since I know it's nectar, can I look at Bear and see if he's like doing that cute thing that animals do when they're
Oh,
dreaming and they're like,
100% is doing that cute thing that animals do when they're dreaming. His back legs are just going wild.
he's like chasing rabbits through the forest or
Yeah.
something. Well, great. Great. This is great.
Great.
How hot is this thing in my back?
It got very hot, but you feel like it was cooling down once you woke up.
So this time it was when I was waking up. I noticed it.
Yeah.
Gave me weird visions. Last time it was when the big explosion happened, wasn't it? It was.
Sorry, I lost you in the middle there.
It was last time. The first time it happened, it was when the city got destroyed, the town got destroyed.
Yes, it was. Yeah, when the town was razed,
Yeah.
that was when the first time it got hot. Yeah.
Interesting.
So what did you see on your trip? I say, smiling at Grandel.
All right, so I came down the cellar. I went through a door, and there was a desk with nothing much on it, and a chest, and the chest was empty. But there was this painting, this beautiful elven woman with like red hair and a green dress, and I figured that'll be worth a bit, so I cut that out the frame and shoved it in my bag, and that revealed a door behind it, which I went through, went down a little hallway and into another room, and this same elf was asleep on the bed, and she just woke up and looked at me, and she said something to me, which I didn't understand.
Right. An elf.
Aye.
Not an elf you know.
I don't know that many elves, to be honest.
What did she say to you, Grandel?
Well, I mean, excuse my accent, you know. She said, Planet des Yaxi Jun Tedulan Bukulan. That means anything to you.
Does it?
I mean,
So
I look at Nyla
It
specifically.
probably sounds horrible, I imagine.
Nyla, yeah, he's absolutely
Mouth.
like he's tortured, murdered brutally. The pronunciation of it.
Butchered my language.
Yeah, but it translates to seek the never elf. He alone unlocks.
Okay.
He alone unlocks. End
Yeah.
of sentence.
Yeah, and Yaxi Jun, it translates to never elf, but that's actually
Yeah.
the term that the elves use for people who have voluntarily left the forest for
Yeah, I remember.
not a cause based around the elf need.
Right.
So that's what a never elf.
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that's what a never
an
elf
exile,
is.
That kind
Yeah.
of thing.
It's like
I'll
an
explain
exile.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll explain it to you. So it's referring to a never elf, which is, kind of a bit of a not a nice thing to say about an elf. Someone who's left the forest, like without being sent on a quest or anything. Just not. It's not a nice thing to say about an elf, but they're not normally welcome back.
Right. Yeah, I've never heard of a nether elf before.
I doubt you would have if you weren't an elf yourself.
Right, so how has that gotten into my head?
Well, I think I can answer this one. It's quite obvious,
this will
really.
be great. I'm waiting to hear this.
Yeah, I
it's-
take a
it's-
seat.
It's
Yeah, I
quite
fold my
obvious,
arms
really,
and
what
then hit the
happened.
wall.
Right, because this one time, right, I was looking for some food, right, and I was cooking a chicken, and you know what? I forgot the mushrooms, didn't I? So I went into the, just the edges of the forest and that, and I picked some off of a tree.
I'm sorry, I think I blacked out again. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, hang on, if you just let me finish, right? Right, I ate these mushrooms, and then for the next 3 days, I honestly thought I was a fucking wolf, right? And I saw this man, and he told me to find the sun god, right? So I spent fucking ages looking for this guy. It turns out, right, there isn't even a fucking sun god. It was all the mushrooms. Guy told me in town, he's like, these ones are no good for eating. Give you visions. Don't read too much into this. I think you should just forget it, move on. Wasting your time.
Would somebody
have a new
please give me a
quest.
good reason not to take another big swig of this nectar stuff? Just
There isn't
to
any more
escape
left?
this
Fuck it.
conversation.
Nyla, how does one go about seeking a never elf? Question mark.
So yeah, seeking out a never elf is just like seeking out any other elf.
Hang
So
on, I'm not a smart person, but can I just point out that, like, you're an elf, and I point at Nyla, and you're out in the world. Do you have the key? Can you unlock?
I'm not a never elf. I was sent on a mission. I have permission to be out of the forest.
Right.
So
Yeah, take that, Gary.
All right.
hey,
fine.
Gary.
Grendel wanders to the back of the basement where the room was before, just to see what's there.
There's a room there.
Okay, is it the same as the one he saw?
Not quite. There is a desk in it, but it's just like got an abacus on it and like account books and stuff. It looks like it's the bar's office essentially, and there's like a bed in the corner. So it looks like it's essentially where Antoine lives.
Right, and no chest,
No chest. Literally just a much less ornate desk and a really basic bed.
Can I do a again detection? I think it was.
Yeah.
Do detection just to look for secret doors or.
Yeah, definitely.
That is an 11, which is a success.
Nope, no secret doors in here as far as you can tell. Doesn't look like there's anything here. In terms of the actual cellar itself, just obviously as you've walked through it, there is like that is the same. So it is like it's got the big barrels of ale down one side and then the bottles of wine on the other.
Cool. Okay. In that case, I do grab 2 bottles of wine.
Cool. Character choices. Yeah. Would from Grandel's description, I take it I wouldn't recognise this elf.
Give me general law.
I don't. What's that? Just intelligence.
Just give me an intelligence check here.
Okay. That's a fail. It's not a terrible failure, but it's a fail.
Yeah, no, you don't know.
Mm.
That basically could be describing any number of elves you know personally and several elves from mythology. like you are related to a woman who fits that description. Like, but like
Well,
other than
elf
that,
wasn't
no.
and good looking.
Beyond
Yeah,
the
pretty much.
sort of color of the dress, the color of the hair, she wasn't wearing any like jewelry or anything or any
Or a
Nope.
name tag.
marks or anything.
No,
yeah,
there was
the
nothing
name
like
tag
that.
really-
Marks or
She didn't like leave her driving license on the side or anything.
didn't write her name like etched in wood on the door frame like you do when you're a teenager or anything. Elfie was here.
It seems to me like we have 2 leads. We can either try and trace down this Never Elf, or we could try and track down the caretakers, which the nymph spoke of.
Maybe the caretaker is the Never Elf. And maybe it's just all in one. 2 birds, 1 stone. Eat straight home. Another beer. Ideal.
Gary, how long have you lived here?
All my life.
Okay, elf in this town.
Do me an intelligence check.
Oh. Me?
Yep.
Oh, disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
Do it, Mark.
Well, I rolled a
Do it.
7 and a 2. So that is a total failure.
Really?
No.
That's just a regular failure,
7?
surely.
It's-
Oh,
of
no,
course.
shit. I actually passed. Holy balls.
How did you
Oh my
pass with
God.
7?
With a 7?
Hell, man.
It's under the number.
What's your
What's your
number?
intelligence?
Oh, hang on. I'm getting confused. Yes, failure. And
Did
that
you
is
try
a
and do a
total
charisma
failure.
check?
No, I was doing Dungeons and Dragons.
Don't speak those words here.
Okay, yeah, no, you don't remember any elves ever.
Fantasy's too high, man.
You barely remember me, and I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Probably. No.
Is there anyone
Good
around here that's really old that may remember things a bit better?
I mean, yeah. There's old people. There's old people everywhere.
Can you take me to like the oldest person you know, or that's still Compass Mentis?
Is there, Gary?
Elven
Is there
West.
like a town hall, like a place where they'd keep records, like history books?
Like with like paper and books and stuff.
I
that's
leave
no-
the cellar and I go and find Antoine.
Sorry, that really
realised
tickled me.
As
Yeah,
soon as I
he's
finished
he's
that
about.
sentence, I realised I was talking to Gary.
As soon as you get back up from the cellar, you realise that the entire town has been razed to the ground.
Yep. Sure has.
Hey, I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, that might well be the case, but...
Oh, okay, yeah,
you
but
know,
you can find Antoine pretty easily. He's just kind of
didn't
pottering
burst
about
into
helping.
flames.
No, that's true. The town bursts in there. No, you can find Antoine relatively easily without too much issue. He's just kind of pottering about, trying to, sift through the rubble like most people at the moment, not really knowing what to do with himself.
Antoine, my good man,
Oh, yes.
I would like to inquire with yourself as to whether the town originally had, like, a collapse head, a town hall or a library or...
You just hear Gary from behind you go, oh, nerd.
No, I don't think so. No, there was never really a need for that. The closest thing we had to records, I think, was the storerooms used to have a ledger of all the trade that went on. But other than that, no. I had a guest book once, but that's gone under here somewhere.
That might be a starting point. I click my fingers really loud. Gary?
Echoes and everything.
Yes, what do you want?
Would you maybe sift through the rubble of the inn until you find the guest book, please?
I mean, yeah, fine. Yeah, whatever.
Give me strength.
I know I will.
Is that you praying, Jack? Give me strength.
Give me strength, yeah.
I mean, yes. 3. Rolled a 3. That's
Nice.
That's under 17.
It is. It's even probably a great success, isn't it?
It's a fantastic success.
So, yeah, you...
That's the official classification.
So, yeah, you can find it pretty easy. It doesn't take you too long. You just basically shift all of the rubble from on top of it. Like, you're unbelievably strong. Like, it's painful. And I think also with kind of Antoine's general direction of where it was in terms of the layout, it's not that hard to find. It's a really big leather-bound book. It looks like the inkwell that was kind of stored next to it was smashed, and there's a lot of ink staining around the edges, and it's kind of leaked into some of the pages. But other than that, it looks like it's in pretty good condition. Dusty,
Awesome.
Obviously. Very, very dusty.
Nyla, would you maybe search through this book to see if there's any names that stand out that could be Elven? Maybe?
So,
I had it to Nyla.
I do that.
Give me detection.
That is just a success. It's a 16.
Cool. You kind of flick through it. It's a real big book, and you're in the process of kind of going through. You're like, there's not gonna like the chances of 2 elves of having come through are like you kind of start at the back because you want it. You don't want it to be recent, kind of, and you realise that this book actually is. It's actually like a lot longer. It's a lot older than you would have thought. Like you think that this book probably has kind of gone back to like before this place could have possibly been owned by Antoine. Like there's literally no way he could possibly have owned this tavern for this long because it's literally he wouldn't have even been alive when this book started out. Like it's a couple of 100 years old. This book, you think, probably based on based on the entries on it.
Are there like dates?
Yeah, there are a couple of dates. Like some people have like signed saying, thanks, had a lovely 50th wedding anniversary here, and then have put the date. I can't remember what the current date is actually, so I'm not.
That is fine. I just want to split that to 45 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And look for Son's name.
Yeah, that's the only name you find in the book that you recognise.
I just got a smile to myself. What did he write? Did he write anything?
He actually did. It literally says, "Thank you for the lovely stay. It's nice to know that not all of my kind. Sorry, it's nice to know not all of your kind are inhospitable as the first I met. Hopefully, the city will be kind to me."
That's not foreboding at all.
Hmm.
I want to kind of rip the page out. Is that allowed? That one needs
I
to be
mean, you can do
pretty
it, whether
light.
it's allowed or not. You won't find. You can. Are you going to ask permission first?
I'm gonna rip a page out of his 200 to 300 year old.
I mean, yeah. I will ask for permission. I'm not a naughty girl.
Do you explain? Roleplay it. Give me asking.
Okay, that's yeah, so I will go to Antoine and okay, Antoine. It's the name here, and I point at it. This is the one I lost a long time ago. As you can see, 5 years to be precise. Would you mind if I took this page? It might have clues as to where it is.
Antoine looks at you and kind of looks at the entry you're talking about and says, "Oh, yes, I think that's should be fine."
Okay.
Take the page.
I just tear it.
Rip. Elias, as she rips the page out, the book kind of flares slightly in magic.
Mm-hmm.
And the page is there still, but she has a copy of it.
Nice.
Has it recreated it that we can all see it?
Yeah, the page is there. As far as it looks like, she never ripped the page out.
That's awesome.
That's weird.
It's an impressive book.
Hey, it's nifty.
And
Elias.
I mean, if you can imagine how much money you'd save if you kept it in the bathroom.
Antoine chuckles at that. And he says, "This book is very important to this establishment. It is probably more the salt cellar than the building was."
I hand it to Elias because I don't know anything about this.
I'd like to examine the book.
Give me arcane law.
I'm gonna. It's a 3. Great success.
Yeah, all these great successes, guys. So yeah, you kind of examine this book, and it's like you said, it's real old. The leather is actually like you didn't notice before because you kind of didn't really look in it yourself. You kind of look at the kind of stitching that has the leather attached to it, and like the binding and stuff, because you're obviously examining it in more detail now. And it's like a really well-made book. But as you kind of look at it in more detail, you notice that all the stitching is done in like arcane patterns and stuff. Like there's like runes stitched in to like all the bindings and things holding the pages in, and they're all essentially runes that look like they are to do with like abjuration magic.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, like you can piece together that the magic is designed to protect the book from damage, and essentially the way it appears to be doing that is just making it go back to be how it was before.
As I'm studying the book, I will pace around slightly. And at a point where I've got my back to Antoine, but facing Grandel, I will mouth to him, "I want this." Kind of quite discreetly, but very intentionally.
Cool. Yeah. I mean,
Antoine
if you're
can't
doing
see
it when you've got his back to him, he won't be able to see you saying that.
Yeah.
And I will put the book down.
He kind of goes to take it off you, Antoine.
I will give it back to him, but I'll do that thing where I don't quite let go of it as he tries to take it.
Antoine will kind of chuckle at that, and he's like, "You wouldn't be the first."
It's a very impressive book.
It is. It was left to me
How long have you owned the inn?
about 20
Antoine.
years.
So you didn't encounter the elf that Nyla's referring to?
No, I didn't. No, The man who used to run the inn before me, he probably would have been the one to meet the last elf in final rest.
And where is this gentleman or lady now?
He went to how to best put this? Indulge his wanderlust.
Oh, is he also a halfling like yourself?
No. No, he was a half-scorn.
Oh.
He and I...
Right.
Sorry?
I've just, it's just interesting that you never mentioned that before to me.
It didn't seem pertinent, Gary.
Right, well, I don't know what that means, but...
Relevant. Didn't seem important, Gary. Sorry.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
fine.
You aren't the first half-scorn in town, and I'm sure you won't be the last. Roderick was a good man, and we did a trade of sorts. He wanted adventure, I wanted to settle down, so we swapped.
And Nyla, this note refers to the elf going to the city.
Yes, it seems to be.
It is in Elven, by the way.
It's in Elven. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'd like to point out this was 45 years ago.
That seems as good a place than any to start, really. They may also have information on the caretakers. There is a vast amount of knowledge to be found in the city. It's where I hail from.
Well, I mean, shouldn't we be looking at finding some of that water in the lake that the statue lassie was on about? Should that not be a priority?
It seems like we need to figure out how to get the lake to turn back to water.
Or someone who has a vial of water somewhere from the lake.
I
mean,
see. I like the
potentially,
sound of
but
that. I mean, that
It
sounds a
did
lot
dry
easier.
up over 400 years ago.
People keep. Well, 400 years isn't that long ago when you think about it.
It is to keep a record of someone who has a vial of lake water.
I mean, elves have records like that all over the place. We like records.
I mean, I love records, obviously.
So where to next?
I mean, I'm
That's
keen to
assuming
the
that you
city.
guys are even interested in continuing adventuring.
Yeah, well,
city-
these people aren't going to be buying that much wood, really. They're going to be more interested in, saving their own lives, and there's not a lot of call for fresh lumber. Well, there might be soon.
Oh, is that what they call you around here?
Oh yeah, baby.
I hate that. I mean,
Yeah.
the city sounds great. I'd love to go to the city.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm up for it. Bit of a trip. Take some souvenirs back,
Right. Right.
So
Awkwardly, we'll stand there. Wait for someone
Just
to move.
walk away in silence.
I see ya.
Bye then.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
So to the city? Are we agreed? Question
Yeah,
mark?
I'm up for it. Let's
I
do
mean,
it.
are we walking or what?
It's a very long way.
It is a very long way, and you ain't going to be doing no star wiping here, I can tell you that much.
propeller spin.
You're not going to have your faces come into the screen and go
travel by
away again.
nap.
So
See if we
it's
get some horses.
it's
I'm a
Obviously
bit
kind
hungry,
of-
I must admit.
probably about midday by now.
So we'll get there by nightfall.
Yeah, you'll get there by
In 3
nightfall
days.
in about a week. Yeah, if probably more than that actually. Let me just
I think it was 4 weeks.
I think it actually might be near a month. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to speak to a couple of people, the older people in town first, just to find out anything else about this
We
elf.
should probably get supplies in if we're going for a month-long travel by horseback. That sounds fun.
Yeah. I don't actually own a horse.
Can I ask Antoine because Gary's sort of just given up on me at this point. Can I ask Antoine where I could find an elder, like someone who was around about 50 years ago? Someone who lived here, is still alive.
Yeah, he'll kind of say to you, 50 years. You're trying to find someone who may have seen the elf. I would say your best bet is Augustine.
Augustine.
She's probably helping with the sick. Older lady, as you would imagine. And quite the character, is how I'll put that, I think. And don't tell her I said that.
I don't really understand your parlances, so I assume that's a good thing.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I will head off towards the place where I went, I think with Elias, where we went to help the sick.
Yeah, no, yeah. There is actually a lady that you kind of were. She was very much interested in tending to the wounded. She was setting like broken legs and stuff, and she just kind of didn't speak to anybody while she was doing it. She just walked up to someone who had a broken leg, pulled it to being straight, and then tied a bit of stick to it. Essentially, she's very kind of brusque woman who just kind of got stuff done and didn't really ask for permission.
I like her already.
Is sorry to interrupt. Is Bear still asleep in the cell?
I was just about to say I want to go get Bear if he's woken up.
No, he would have come round by now,
Okay.
and he will probably have. You will have obviously. He would have been asleep at in the cellar, whilst you were up there talking, and he would have like kind of burst out from underneath up the stairs and been like, that thing where kind of someone kind of runs into a room and is like, "Whoa, what happened?" He kind of does that when he comes out from the stairs and is like, "Whoa." And he kind of runs over to you and is just like rubbing his face on you, like, "What happened?"
I give him a kiss on the head and a little ruffle of his fur.
Grandall
I say,
walks over and tries to sort of give him a little gentle pat on the head.
He like, that thing that cats do when they rub up against your legs.
Yeah.
He does that like around your entire body because you're probably about the right size for that. Nyla, you've never seen him do that. That's weird.
He's a good kitty.
Interesting.
And he kind of like he rubs himself up against you and then like looks at you, Grandall, and then just kind of like makes eye contact and then walks back to
I remove a piece
Nyla.
of beef jerky from my pouch and sort of throw it to him.
He'll catch that out of the air and kind of almost nod respectfully at you almost. Like there's kind of like an understanding there almost between the two of you now.
Yeah. Yep. Love it.
It's like real cats where they like, yeah, you feed me, therefore you're okay. You can stay. Okay, cool. In that case, I will take Bear to the place with Augustine.
Cool. Gary, what are you going to do?
I'm going to go and talk to Augustine as well. I imagine I know her. She's local. Yeah, I'll introduce you.
Thank you.
Cool. Elias, what are you up to?
That is a great question.
Cool. I'll come back to you then. Grandall, anything you want to do?
I am going with the majority. Basically, I'm sticking by the giant tiger that can probably kill anything I've ever seen. That seems to like me.
Yeah, that
Seems
sounds
like
like a good plan.
at the moment.
Yeah.
He's a good boy. He's such a good boy.
Lovely. So, Elias, we'll come back to you in a second. We'll just do this bit with Augustine first. So, yeah, you kind of head over to where the people are being, like, tended to in terms of their wounds, and I think most of them have kind of been looked after now. Obviously, that's the reason why you kind of looked up from your work before. And you see this woman, she's kind of sat, hunkered down on this, like, makeshift bench. She looks like a mean old lady. And she kind of, as she looks up, she kind of looks straight at you, Gary, and you kind of involuntarily flinch, almost remembering all the times that she smacked you around the back of the head for doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. She's that sort of matriarchal kind of figure in the town. And she goes, Gary, why aren't you helping move shit?
Miss Augustine, I will. I've got a young lady who wanted to be introduced to you. She's got a couple of questions for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. This is Nyla.
She kind
this
of
is Augustine.
gets up off her chair and she makes a real show of how so difficult it was for her to get up off the chair. And then walks towards you completely fine. And she goes, oh, the elf, and just grabs you by the chin and does that thing where she turns your face to look at you, and then she's like, very nice. What do you want?
So in elven cultures, we respect our elders a lot. So I'm really very respectful to this woman and be like, my lady,
Oh,
and I will show her the page that has his name written down because it might not be easy translated, and say, someone I used to know about 45 years ago came through here. His name was Sun. He probably looks a little similar to me. I wondered, do you remember him?
I do remember an elf coming through here. It was back when I was a younger lady. I thought I was in with a chance, to be honest, but he didn't seem interested. But yeah, he was alright. He stayed a couple of days and then buggered off.
Where he was heading after he left?
North, he said.
North.
Past the blind eye on to the capital.
And
He did seem interested in that mountain, though. Fool of a boy.
why was that be?
Why was he interested? Dunno.
No, why was he a fool for being interested in
Well,
a mountain?
because Blind Eye Peak, my love, I know you're an elf, but obviously, everyone knows this. Blind Eye Peak is cursed.
Oh, for God's sake.
I'm going to try and hold it together every time someone mentions curses because I'm super sick of hearing it.
To be fair, though, she's right. It is.
Aye. For once, the dwarf knows.
He didn't say anything unusual while he was here, why he was heading in that direction.
I mean, he was an elf, love. Everything he said was unusual.
Bit racist, but sure.
I mean, he spoke in a funny language. What was I supposed to say?
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you very much.
He kept talking all posh-like.
And
Weird man.
what do you mean all posh like?
Well, he wasn't using proper common, was he? He was using fancy common.
Oh, in that case, I'm going to imitate it and be like, my dearest lady, one does not speak in a lowest form of common if one is freshly out of the elven wilds.
Right.
You just hear Grendel go,
She'll laugh at that. She likes that. You're alright. If I was 10 years younger.
well,
Oh,
let's not be hasty.
Oh no! I mean, let's just slow it down, Mrs.
I mean,
Augustine.
Gary.
First,
Don't
Yes.
get involved.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nothing to do with you.
Have
I answered all your questions,
heavy
love?
things up.
Yes, thank you very much for
Lovely.
your kind help.
You're alright. I saw you working on them people with all them injuries and stuff. So it's a good shout. I was a bit worried when I saw the four of you buggering off out of town last night, but the fact that you came back means you're alright.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We do what we can to help.
I can see that, yeah. Where's that magic bloke?
I look around.
Right.
Elias, are
I
you
don't-
with them?
No.
Okay. If you see him, send him my way. I've got a real pain in my back. And she'll kind of just, with that, she'll kind of nod and just kind of wander off, looking for something to make herself busy with.
Okay. In that case, we should. I think this is everything we want to do here. If anyone has anything else.
So, Elias, what are you up to?
I want to have a look at that book.
Again?
Yeah, again.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, Antoine will quite happily let you have a look at it. He'll let you look at it as much as you want, but he obviously won't let you take it with you.
No. I want to like write some shit down and rip out the pages.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
What be you writing?
I mean, just general stuff.
All right. Oh, so you want to see the magic in action?
Evocative.
I just want to study the book. I mean, I'm not. It's not really to really gain anything specific, but just you don't get to see magic items every day.
No, if anything, this is the first one
isn't
you've ever
fifth
actually
edition.
seen.
Yeah, like this isn't 5th edition. This is something that would be truly kind of mesmerizing, I think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And as you're kind of looking at it and you're kind of writing stuff in it and like ripping pages out, he's like, try not to do that too many times. There's only so many pages in a book. But he'll kind of say, you know, you're not the first person to come looking for this. You know, there's always interest from magic users whenever they come through town. Not that it happens often. But they always end up looking at the book because most of them can kind of sense there's something about it when they first come in to town. He's quite surprised you didn't notice it when you first arrived, but that's probably because you were in so much pain from your injuries.
Yeah, it's probably because I was half dead.
Yeah.
It's
but yeah,
very
so yeah.
impressive.
Yes, it is. Give me a charisma check.
Oh, here we go, boy. This is what you've been waiting. I got a 19,
Wow.
which I think you'll find is above my charisma.
Yes.
And please remind the listeners what your charisma is, John.
5.
So yeah,
So it's a terrible, terrible failure.
he will like essentially hover over you the entire time you're looking at the book.
Is it because I'm drooling?
Yeah, he's just like, you know, keeping an eye on you, and also give me detection.
What skill would that be?
And that's a perception skill.
It is a
Perfect.
efficiency.
Oh,
It is
apologies.
all efficiency, but it obviously does have a...
If you haven't got the actual detection proficiency, then just give me a perception check.
That is a failure with a 16.
Cool. In that case, yeah, you can learn some stuff about the book because you spent some time with it. I'll kind of say that you don't need to re-roll for that because you will learn kind of more about it. In terms of like, it doesn't appear to. So like, if you were to write on it in pencil, and then rub the pencil away, you'd obviously still have the indentation.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't come. That when you rip the page out, it then just looks like a blank page. It's almost like it doesn't allow imperfections. It only allows like intentional marks.
Yeah. Okay.
Is he Gary just like saunter over? Like, you nerds still looking at that book? Oh, you love books, don't ya? Hey, a punch Elias on the arm, like playfully.
I die. I am very, very wounded.
Roll to hit.
It's a crit, you guys. Sorry.
Oh no, you're dead.
Of course it is.
You're dead. Sorry.
Roll on the injuries table.
It was 100, and I don't even know how that happened.
I just ignore Gary. I'm not going to rise to it.
Cool. So I think everyone's kind of done some bits and bobs. What do you want to kind of do? This is the point where it goes, awesome, you've kind of done the bit of final rest that, like, obviously there's probably more to do here if you want to spend more time here. I'm not saying, congratulations, you've completed this dungeon, on to the next one. Yeah. I'm essentially saying, you know, you're at the crossroads, you have a decision to make. Hence the title.
Like in the name of the episode.
Holy.
You said the name of the movie in the movie.
So yeah, essentially, you're at final rest. You know, the raids to town. It literally is on the crossroads. You can go north towards the capital. You can go south towards the Elven Forest. You can go west towards the Hollow Range where the dwarves are. You could even, if you really wanted to, go east and kind of try and make the very dangerous trek across the salt pit to the old citadel. Like that would be potentially something you could do. You could go to the far south into the swamps. You could go to the far north past the citadel. to the islands north of this capital. You could go to the island that's kind of to the east. There's like literally wherever you want to go, you can go now. It's one of those bits where, you've gone past the tutorial and the open world has kind of opened up and you can kind of go wherever you want. There's no fast travel yet, but you can kind of go wherever you want.
I can't wait until we unlock that.
So what fast
When
travel?
we get the airship. Yeah, when
I
we
love
get
getting the airship.
Yeah.
Gives the
That's
best
when the
bit.
game really kind of comes alive.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think there's only one real destination here, and that would be the city.
I mean, I'm up for whatever, I suppose. But, there's Salt Pit Lake, and we can see what's going
Does
around
sound
in
very
there.
dangerous.
And, we could go to the dwarves, in the Hollow Range. I'm sure they'd be happy to take us in for a while. Maybe they know about these caretakers that you're so interested in. They've got books.
I think the question might actually be which destination would be closest.
I mean, here really is the closest.
Thanks,
We go to
Gary.
my house. We'll go to my shack if you want. Have a little drink.
I
But
mean,
no.
I'd like to go to the capital. If this elf is potentially headed that way, I think that might be wise.
I suppose.
Yeah, I've never been to the capital before.
Hi everyone, Jack here. Not much to say this week, so I will try and keep it quick. First off, and most importantly, thank you for coming back and listening to episode 3, A Decision at the Crossroads. This is a slightly shorter episode, mainly because when I gave the guys the choice of where they wanted to go to next, they discussed it for well over an hour in less than audibly satisfying manner, so I had to cut most of it to spare your ears. I might do a extended version in the future. I still have all the audio, so maybe I might do another one later on, but we'll come to that later. The main other thing I wanted to say was a request. Please, if you are enjoying the show, like, comment, get in touch on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, via the website, etc. We're using hashtag Nangcast, which is Nangcast. So spam that on everything. Let your friends know. We really want to make sure that we're kind of reaching as many people as possible. We really love making this, and we hope people are enjoying it. And obviously, if you are enjoying it, let other people know as well, so they can enjoy it too. So thanks for that. I also wanted to do a big shout out to the guys and girls at Pickpocket Press. They've been really supportive. They're the guys who make the LFG system. They've posted on their website and on their social media. So really big thank you from all of us here at Nothing Adventure, Nothing Gamed to the guys at Pickpocket Press. You have been amazingly supportive, and we really appreciate you for that. The only other thing I think I wanted to talk about was the fact that we are running a competition at the moment. I say competition, it's more of a fan interaction thing. So basically, if you go onto the Facebook page, you'll be able to find out more about it. But what we want you to do is give us some stories about your favourite characters you've ever played as, with the intention that the stories that pique our interest the most and that we kind of get a laugh from when we're reading them or we're very impressed by, I will name an NPC after that character at some point in a future episode. We're going to run that until the guys get to the city, so you've got a few weeks, if not more, left for that, so it's quite a long way still they've got to go. But yeah, so have a look on Facebook and get involved with that one. Once again, thank you again for listening. We really appreciate all your support. We will be releasing the next episode on the 10th of Jan in 2020, which is kind of crazy. So hopefully it will help you start off the year in a good way. Again, thank you. I can't say that enough. That's all from me. I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope you have a really good New Year. I hope all of it has been and will be full of fun, friends, and probably in my case, plenty of food. So yeah, see you in the new year, and thank you again. Bye. Nice.
Yeah.
So I think you've all decided you're going to go to the city. So obviously, I think you probably. I mean, I don't want to make your decisions for you, but are you going to rest here first, or are you just
Yeah,
going to
I'm fine.
leave?
Because Elias is almost dead.
I think if we can get some sort of cart that Elias can rest in, that would be fine. Otherwise, we've got to wait till he's better before we can ride on horseback.
So most of the stuff in town is kind of ever so
Broken.
slightly broken, due
Yeah.
to the fact that the buildings that they were being stored in have been destroyed.
Yeah, but you don't keep horses inside, do you?
What, in stables? No.
Yeah, you kind of do. You don't have to, but they
They don't
can.
make stables out of like I
Out
don't
of
know,
wood.
like
bricks.
crushing
So
size.
no, you are absolutely right. The stables that the stables aren't actually in town anyway. They're like a little way out of town, probably like an hour or so. Just because they're essentially the next farm, just is the place where the horses live, essentially. So most traders kind of drop the horses off there because then, or bring the goods into town, and then there's kind of like a place where the stable boys that work on the farm will then, it's almost like a valet service, I suppose. They'll kind of like take your car and take your horses back to the farm because you're probably going to be in town for a few days
Okay.
whilst you're doing all your merchanting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a technical term.
We do that.
So you can kind of go to the outlying town, farm, and purchase some horses if you have the money. If you have the money for a cart, that's potentially something you can get as well. Obviously, it's just whether or not you actually have the money.
I reckon I can use my charismo to get us some horses.
That's gonna
Do
happen.
you say that out loud?
I do.
Grendel sort of glances at you sideways and puts away his hip flask and puts it in his pouch. Like, I don't need any more of that. Not today.
I think we should try and secure the horses now and just get on with this.
Yes.
Agreed.
I can
I
rest
agree.
on the way.
So the horses will be. You want riding horses, yeah?
As opposed to farming
So you've got
horses.
riding horses and draft horses.
Yeah, definitely riding.
I mean,
I don't think we're
Um,
going to be able to afford a cart.
So a cart will cost 16 gold.
Oh. It's all of the money that I have.
that's fine. And how much are the horses?
The horses, so riding horses are 15, 60, 65 gold, and draft horses are 50 gold.
What?
I guess we're walking.
Sounds like it.
How
No,
much
let's
is the
try and
drop?
make friends.
55.
A draft horse is 50 gold.
Well,
I mean, that's a lot of money. How much have you got, Gary? Gary, how much gold do you have?
I worked it out, looking at it, and judging by how much you guys have. Probably not as much as I thought. I made it at 66.
It's a hell of a lot more than I've got.
I have no idea.
Did you actually work out how much your armor and weapons and stuff cost?
I don't even know how much I start with.
How did you work out you got 66 gold if you...
I rolled a D100.
That's
making
not
it
how
up.
that works.
I don't think that's how you do it.
That's not how that works.
I'll say I've got 15.
That's
still not how it works.
That's how cheaters do it.
I genuinely couldn't even
I couldn't find
in
it,
the
hang on.
rules where that would even be.
It's in
Disgusting.
your class, which is barbarian.
It
right?
doesn't say anything about gold in my
No,
class.
it's in the inventory section, the items.
Oh yeah. But I don't have enough to buy everyone horses that way.
No. Let's just walk on foot.
That's gonna take. It's 4 weeks on horseback.
So on horseback, the trip will take you about 3.5 weeks. If you're going to walk the entire way, it will take longer. Obviously, I'm not going to say it's definitely the case, but it might be the case that you can find some work between there and here.
Absolutely.
Because it's
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
it's
or a
3 weeks worth of
caravan
traveling.
guarding.
Exactly,
Yep.
and like there actually are people who are leaving one of the things I said to you in the first session is the people in the bar look like they're all merchants heading north. It's autumn. It's actually the equinox in like a day, and everyone's kind of heading north for the winter because that's kind of where all the trade will be around the celebrations for like the Feast of Crows and stuff.
All right. Okay. Gary goes and tries to find one of the merchants that are in the bar.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's not that difficult. Most of them kind of just ran out of the bar at the time when it happened, because obviously a lot of them were outside anyway, and then they'd all kind of begun to settle down when the kind of earthquake started to happen. Mm-hmm. So essentially, most of them are fine. Like the ones that are injured, it's not, like I said, there's not really that much fatality that actually happened from this. It's more just the fact the town has been destroyed.
Destruction.
It took so long to happen. Most people kind of ran out of their houses or into cellars and stuff. So you managed to find a couple of different merchants. I mean, is there anyone in particular you want to aim for?
Someone small.
Someone's like weedy. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me. There's not really a history, or like
Perception.
No, I'm just trying to think. Like, give me. Do you have any of the law skills? I don't suppose you do. Do you?
No, I'm not a nerd. I've got leadership, insight, deception, detection. Would be relevant.
Give me insight.
I will. That is 9, and my perception, which is that skill, is 14. So it's not a great success, but it is a success.
Yeah, so you're kind of like walking around town, like kind of looking at people, and you see one kind of weedy-looking merchant, and as you kind of like sizing him up, he kind of turns and looks at you, and you actually recognise him. He came through town last year as well. You remember seeing him when he kind of went south to the dwarves, and he's obviously come back like a month or so later after trading with the dwarves. So you actually recognise him. You had a drink with him when he was in town last time. He is a halfling, and he's like particularly skinny for a halfling.
Okay.
He kind of looks like, it doesn't look like he's ill. He's just like really weedy. Like that's kind of what made you look at him in the first place. But he kind of does the polite kind of, oh yeah, hi, we had a drink together sort of thing, and then kind of go about his business.
Like kind of excuse me. I have a business proposition for you, if you're interested.
Yes.
Well, I think you're going up north, ain't you?
Yes.
Well, hey, it's pretty dangerous on the roads, I hear, up that way.
It can be.
Can be. Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't need to be, because your lucky day is here. Me and my associates, and I point over to those guys, are currently looking to travel up north, and we'd like to extend to you an offer of our security services. Now, as you know, I'm, strongest man I've ever met, and anything that wants to attack the caravan, any miscreants, any bandits, etc., might think twice. Having a very large man such as myself will come.
He kind of looks at you and then looks over to the group, and his eyes kind of turn almost a bit greedy. And he says, "That group.
Grendel gives a little wave.
The one with the elf and the magic user?"
I would like to imagine that my canon for this conversation is that Gary is in his head talking how Mark's talking. But
I
it's
haven't
quite
used any big words.
like
He
you
did say
used a
miscreant.
few.
That was very
You
impressive.
did, and associates, and like. Anyway, carry
Yeah.
on.
No, I like
Stop
what you're saying,
again.
but yes, he kind of says, and the magic user.
Yes, we have a wide selection of skills that we can offer in this task. Now, the fee is very
He just kind of,
reasonable.
as you kind of keep talking, he just kind of pats you on the arm and says, yes, and just walks past you towards the group.
Okay. I'll follow him over.
You, the magic user. What was your name?
My name, good sir, is Elias.
And the big fellow. And he kind of, his gaze lingers on Gary for a moment, and then he says that you are offering your services as protection. Is that true?
It seems like our destinations are aligned, and it would make sense that you travel protected by us.
It's quite rare to have a magic user offer his services as such. I would handsomely pay if you would consider coming under my employ under a more permanent basis.
I mean, that sounds creepy. No, I'm not going to lie. That doesn't sound like it's my bag, baby.
Well, maybe we travel together and you see how you like being under my direction.
I'm just nodding.
I feel like this guy has kind of left his arm, like his hand, like resting on Gary's arm this entire time he's been talking.
Gary's looking down at it and he looks horrified.
Randall's kind of stood next to you, just sort of looking at Gary, and then looking at this guy, and then back again, and then back again.
And then, and so, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Nyla is like making mental notes of like, this is a new halfling thing. I'm not entirely sure what this is.
And then,
definitely don't like it.
yeah. And so then he does that thing where, I don't know how to describe it, so I'm going to use a kind of example from popular culture. You know that thing where Jafar kind of goes to pet Raja in Aladdin, and he just is like, nope. He essentially does that. He's just like, he goes, oh, and a tiger, and he like goes to reach his hand out, and Bear just like in the deepest kind of rumbly growl, and he's like, okay, yes, what? Do you come with your own horses and stuff, I assume?
We do not. No.
Well,
No.
you just became much more expensive, didn't you? How am I supposed to travel with you all if you're not going to bring your own horses? Fine. That will be deducted from the fee.
Sure.
Okay.
It's fair, I
Let's
suppose.
say it's 2 weeks until the first major trading town. I have to do an overnight or two there to do some trading, and then another 2 weeks to the city, probably. So if we're going to say we're going to go, I can offer you a deposit now in the form of the horses to allow you to come with me. And then once we get to our first major trading hub, I'll give you 50 gold, and then when we get to the city, another 50 gold. How does that
Each.
sound? No.
Now, in like the economy of the world you've created, Jack, like how much realistically is 50 gold? Is
So,
that, like, a month's wages?
So,
This way?
sorry, there's actually is a lifestyle expenses that kind of gives you an idea. So, a price per day for an average lifestyle, a rich lifestyle is 10 gold pieces.
A day.
An average lifestyle is 2 gold pieces a day.
Okay, so that's
So 100 gold between the four of us is not nothing.
It's not nothing, but it's
Pretty
not. It will get you
Not
a
a lot.
poor
Plus-
lifestyle.
and to
That's
be honest, this is less about getting paid and more about getting to the destination.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I mean,
That will obviously include your food for the time and also somewhere to sleep.
I kind of look at Elias like I'm way in over my head here. I've got us into something, and I've got no idea how to conclude it. Looking at him, just like, help me.
I just reached my hand out to shake.
Elias, sorry, give me just a general law a second.
That I can do.
Just because obviously you've actually hired a guy to get you to final rest.
It is exactly my intelligence 17, so it's just a pass.
Cool. So you will remember that your master, when he hired the mercenary, he essentially paid him 5 gold pieces a day to bring you here.
Yeah, which I mean, but
But he was a professional mercenary with like a reputation and stuff. That's kind of,
Well, this is
you
it,
know
and-
that to be true.
probably would have supplied his own horse, and
Yeah, exactly.
Andy is horribly murdered now. So
Also that, yeah.
Where's
I
his horse?
I don't know. I reached down to shake the halfling's hand.
He'll do a really kind of, where they don't quite clasp your hand. They just kind of let their limp hand be slightly moved by your hand.
That's horrible.
No, we
Jack,
are going
why
to
are
have
you making this
limp
do so
hand off.
creepy?
I don't know, it's just happening. I'm sorry.
Horrible.
I'm gonna need him to roll to see if his hand's more limp than mine. I'm afraid. 'Cause
3.5 weeks.
Have a
with
weed
this,
off.
gentleman.
I rolled a
Just
16. I don't know if that's good or bad, but yeah, I think it's probably the most pathetic handshake in recorded history.
Oh yeah, I think basically you touch hands and kind of stroke them against each other slightly.
hmm
Yeah, he
Oh,
got like
that's
a terrible failure on his handshake, so
That writing in my diary, odd custom observed of people touching hands, which look like a handshake, but is actually just like limp fishing, like smacking hands against each other. Very weird. I don't like
But it
it.
made a horrible noise as well.
Yeah,
like
like
And I'm imagining if this halfling gets
Slightly
it,
damp.
it's not going to be the only thing smashing together.
Wow.
I look at the party and just shrug. I guess we have to put up with this idiots for a couple of weeks.
oh, that's not a very nice thing to say to your new
To
employer.
that right. in
Oh,
front
sorry,
of-
you were listening. I forgot you were
he's
there.
right in front of you.
Just because he's, not tall and not deaf. I'm just saying.
when are you heading off? What was your name, by the way?
Oh, do you not remember me?
Yes.
Flashback
it
to Gary's
was-
hut. Bow, bow,
Um, your name was Rob. Steve.
Oh, for heaven's
Oh
sake,
God!
man.
Just commit to one.
Stephen.
Pierre.
Stephen.
You
Tia.
were so close.
Pierre.
Oh, Peter. Oh, I like it.
Don't tell him that.
Beck's the
Ideal.
person, the
Yeah.
real person, really doesn't want to travel with this guy because he's already making my ears hurt.
I love him. I think he's going to be a listener.
Fan favourite.
Fan favorite.
I'm just like, oh,
Any
this,
minute now.
this is so audibly unpleasant to me.
You've just made your first memorable podcast character.
Yeah,
Yeah, your first recurring NPC.
Absolutely.
Well, he's going to be in it to get to the city potentially.
When do we
4
leave?
more
Pierre?
weeks.
We will be leaving in the next day. I have some business to conclude, and then we'll be going on.
Excellent, excellent. Just let us know where you want to be, and we'll be there, sir. I'll give him a little salute.
He kind of just nods awkwardly at you, and kind of just walks away.
Oh my god, I hate it.
And then as he's getting away, as he's walking away, he turns and goes, "We'll meet at the farm with the horses and the carriage. It'll be easier than having to leave from here." Yes.
Yeah, anything you say, sir. No problem, sir.
Whatever it was that you were saying.
I knew I liked you.
It's Stewie Griffin playing the Chamberlain from Dark Crystal.
He's back.
Horrifying.
Perfect.
I like to bring to
PLEs.
life unusual characters. What can I say?
Let's mash up two terrible things and
Yeah,
make them a new terrible thing.
I can't help but realise that I was kind of doing a Chamberlain thing. I realised and I was like, I can't stop now.
No, I love it. It was not a criticism at all. I was just making an observation.
Cool.
That's
So
PLEs.
that's Pierre.
I'm just like, yeah, that's PLEs.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
just like, oh, he seems really nice.
Brandel.
Mm.
As he kind of walks away, you realise that he's wearing a faded purple velvet jerkin.
Yeah.
And he's definitely the person you stole money from before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which we forgot you had. Because we haven't ever opened that pouch.
Yeah, I thought I just had the item. I forgot we had.
Yeah, well, because you
Funny.
stole that in the first session, didn't you? You stole
Yeah.
that pouch. It had 20
Oh, of
gold in
course
it.
I did. Yes.
Yeah, it had 20 gold in it. But you definitely stole that from him.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm saying, yeah, okay. So for the last 5 minutes, Grandel's been sort of eyeing him up, going,
Yeah. Why
this
do I
looks
know you? Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, and then it hits you.
And
You're
then,
like, oh
yeah,
shit.
As he walks away, I sort of see the.
You
back
see it
of
from
him,
behind, yeah, and you're like, oh
as I
god.
would have. Like, oh right. Ah.
And you kind of, when you kind of look at the pouch again, which you'll probably do at some point, you realise that it's actually monogrammed. And it's got like a big, like, it's like, a little pouch with like a P and then a T through it.
Nice. Yeah. So Grendel just sort of mutters slightly under his breath. He just goes, "Well, I suppose if you're going to go up shit creek, at least someone else is providing the paddle."
She said it out loud because then we're like, what?
Just
what?
like under his breath, muttering. You might be able to hear him. I don't know how close you guys are or how much you're paying attention to him. It's very, very. It's more for himself than anything else.
I'm sketching Pierre in my book because this dude is like fucking weird.
I am
like it.
so excited to see fan art of that guy. Like,
If you want to see mine, it's terrible. That just makes me
Creepy ass halfling.
ugh.
All right, sweet. So we got some work, and some travel and some horses.
yeah, so unless you guys have anything else you want to do in town, I'm more than happy to kind of.
fast
You're
forward
in
it.
town, it's safe, we can leave. Is there anything else you want to do in final rest before we leave?
Throw a star wipe on it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm all up for star wiping it.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
Cool.
100%.
Fuck this town.
So, the town is kind of in the distance already a little bit because you've obviously headed over to the farm where the stables are. Gary, it's a bit weird for you, to be honest. This is the only place you've ever been in your entire life.
That is
Like,
true.
it won't be. It will take less than a day of travel to be further out of town than you've ever been before. Like
I imagine I'm a little bit scared.
in this direction, I think. But I think, obviously, actually, ooh, how exciting! Give me A will check.
Okay. I needed a 10 and I got a 10.
Nice,
Perfect.
cool. So I think you kind of you feel a little bit like uncertain. You're definitely nervous. Basically, that was to see whether or not your kind of half-scorn bravado kicked in, and you were like, like kind of made a big show of leaving and not caring about it. Like, but you're kind of a little bit more. You kind of do look like you are probably going to miss the people, and you probably in the last day or so you've made your rounds and said goodbye to the people that are kind of the people that helped raise you, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you come into. Sorry, Bex, I didn't hear that.
Perfect. We do an Incredible Hulk. Gary walks away.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
No, I'll say goodbye to everybody. Miss Augustine and was it Augustine?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember the name. Miss Augustine and the barman, and pack my stuff. Are they waving as I leave, or is it?
No, they
one
kind of.
things where they
It's
just
one of
kinda
those
look
things
up
where you
and
said goodbye, and they're all kind of busy. The only person actually.
Yeah, bye, Gary.
Because you're not related to any of them, they helped raise you, but you've always kind of been on the outskirts of the town anyway. Elias, just one thing I wanted to say actually to you, something I didn't get the chance to cover before. You do have one awkward kind of encounter before you leave Final Rest for the last time, and it's with Susan.
Oh, I forgot about her.
Yeah.
Okay.
She approaches you as you're kind of getting ready to leave the town, kind of this morning, and she kind of says, would have been nice for you to, explain what happened, but I guess it was only Jacob that was the problem. Is he...
Do you feel like you deserved an explanation?
I mean, he was my blood.
And I got the kind of distinct impression that, as he wasn't actually your son, that you weren't all that interested.
He was still my sister's son, and I feel like I could have done better by him. Did I do the right thing, sending the letter to Tackett?
What happened at that moment was inevitable. I mean, it may have taken place in a different town at a different time, but you did right in trying to get the boy some help.
Thank you. Pray that the rest of the blood isn't tainted in my family. And with that, she kind of looks at you with a really malicious kind of, really malicious in kind of just the fact that you almost feel like she doesn't trust magic users at all anymore. When she spoke to you before, she kind of had a bit of respect for you, but now you can tell that she's just she is terrified of magic, and it's just a curse as far as she's concerned.
I just shrug and walk away.
So yeah, you didn't enjoy your first encounter with Susan at all, did you? So yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. It left me with just generally neutral feelings towards the woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't give a shit what she thinks.
No. Fair enough. I just thought that was something I kind of had meant to say to you before, but I forgot about. So yeah. So you're in you're at the stables. Pierre kind of emerges from the stables and hands the rather gruff-looking human man who runs the stables a little pouch of gold, and he kind of just beckons to you and leads you into the stable, not the stable, into the kind of paddock where the horses are. Go on.
We get to choose our own horse.
There's 6 horses there, and one of them is attached to a carriage. The carriage is it's like a covered wagon. And it is painted in the most garish, purple with like silver gilding, like stripes over it, and it says like Pierre's fine clothes and dwarf merchandise. It's like a really bad name. Like it's appalling.
I sell stuff and things.
Yeah, like literally. And also, you kind of can't help but think like Pierre's clothes aren't that fine. Like, why is he selling fine clothes and not wearing them? But yeah, there's like 6 horses
You don't
in
get
this.
high on your own supply.
Exactly. There's like 6 horses kind of in this paddock. One of them's already hitched up to the wagon, which Pierre goes and kind of sits on. He kind of goes and sits on the wagon and like waits for one of you to come and sit with him to guide the horse.
Sit with him.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
I will jump on the biggest horse.
Cool. The biggest horse is a really large, kind of grey. It kind of looks like, like the Shire horses. It's almost like that size. It's absolutely massive. But it's like really kind of it's your size in terms of horses, but it would look ridiculous if Grandel was to ride it. It's just really big. It's kind of like the tufty hooves, really really gorgeous mane. Tufty hooves. It's a big old horse, and it doesn't even kind of notice your weight on it. They're all saddled up already, and yeah, so you jump on that one. That's fine, and it kind of you get used to the saddle. You've probably ridden before, but not that much. Nyla, you probably haven't ever ridden a horse.
No, it's just
People don't ride horses in the Elven Forest. There kind of aren't horses in the Elven Forest, really, because it's essentially a jungle.
yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. And all of your houses are obviously in the trees. So you've basically travelled the entire way by foot or on boat, so this is going to be a first for you.
Okay.
Would you prefer to ride with the creepy halfling?
I mean, that was I was like, I'm probably better on the cart, but also I do not want to be anywhere near this guy at all. So I'd probably prefer to be on a horse. So I'm going to choose like the one that looks like the nimblest, the most agile.
Okay, yeah, there's like a kind of slim, like really dark, like almost black. But it's a brown horse, but it's really like almost looks like it's wet. It's so dark.
I love that.
And it's kind of like she's a bit skittish, but as soon as you kind of approach her, give me animal handling.
Animal
law.
Animal law. Give me animal law if you have that.
Animal law, I do, which is intelligence, which is a 13, which is a pass.
Cool. Yeah. So kind of you approach it, and you kind of instinctively put your hand out, and she kind of nudges your hand a little bit, smells you, and then she kind of calms down a little bit. It's almost like she's reacting to your nerves, and she's kind of calms down to try and calm you down. It's kind of like the same way you would with another animal. She's almost doing that back to you. She does like kind of skitter away when Bear approaches, but then like you manage to kind of calm her back down, and then she kind of tentatively accepts you getting up onto her. The horseman, the kind of guy, the stable owner, he will come over and help you get up onto the horse because he's seen elves before. Or hasn't seen elves, but he's seen someone who's never ridden a horse before. So he kind of comes over and kind of points to where things are and how to kind of control the horse, like leads you around the pad. Yeah, this is a horse. This is a saddle. You sit here. You put your feet through these stirrups. You hold this. I don't even know what that bit's called. What's the thing called?
Bridle.
Yes,
Reins?
you hold the bridle. The reins, that's the word.
Okay.
So yeah, this is you put your feet in the stirrups, you hold the reins, and you kind of and he explains to you whilst he's leading you around the paddock just to get a feel for it. You'll be sore after the first after the first day, and it'll take you a little while to get used to it, but you'll probably figure it out.
Yeah, I'm listening super intently because I'm like, this is a beast and it deserves respect. Therefore, I don't want to fuck this up.
He will definitely be appreciative about the fact that you look like you're actually making an effort to learn this.
Oh yeah.
And I think because of that, and because of your kind of kinship with animals, you'll find it a little bit easier than someone else might.
May I ask a mechanic question quickly?
You can.
How fast does a horse go normally, like in terms of speed? And would Bear struggle to keep up with the pace of a horse, or would Bear be okay?
Absolutely not. Tigers.
it's a tiger.
It's a tiger.
Yeah, but they're not made
Tiger.
for distance. That's my problem. It's like they're fast, but they're like they're slow
But-
walkers.
To be fair, he's a magical elven forest tiger, so who's to say?
Okay, sure.
I think
if
I
he's-
mean, we're not riding the horses hard.
no, it's more just so you can ride longer for a day rather than having to walk, and they just travel at normal pace. So yeah, he is faster than you are in terms of his movement speed, in terms of the mechanics. So he will be able to. He might drop behind if you kind of all decide to go a bit faster, but he'll probably catch up in the evenings, like as it starts to get dark. If you make camp, he'll probably appear in the camp a little bit after that.
Could
Okay.
we not put him in the wagon?
That's what I was going to say. I was going to ask.
It is literally
yeah.
full, the wagon. You can't put anything in there.
So much things and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Um,
No worries. Then.
Grandel, you have the choice between another horse that's a bit like Nyla's, or there's like a little, essentially like a pony. And the kind of the horse master just says, "Oh, I heard there was a dwarf, and they're normally like ponies because they're short."
Grandel
Yeah.
sort of clenches his, he like grits his teeth, looks up at this horse master, and strides very purposefully towards the actual horse.
Cool.
And he's going to attempt to just. Has it got a saddle on it? It's got all the
Yeah,
stuff.
they're all saddled up already. Yeah.
He's going to attempt to just jump straight up into the saddle. Like he has ridden before. He's not an expert at it, but he's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
done it before.
Oh yeah, give me acrobatics.
Cool.
I
Thank
think it's
God for
probably because you're kind of
proficiency.
trying to jump up and probably
Ooh.
make it look good as well.
That is a 5, which is a great success.
Cool. Yeah, you kind of, whilst maintaining eye contact, you kind of grab hold of the reins or the like, kind of the pommel of the. Well, probably not even that. Like you probably grab hold of the one of the. What the hell are they called? I just said the word a second ago. The bit your foot goes in.
Rain.
Stirrups.
So yeah, you grab hold of one of the stirrups and kind of swing yourself up into the saddle from that, and then kind of sit yourself down, and then kind of have to lean down. And obviously, when he's kind of turned away, you kind of lean down and make the stirrups much shorter, so your feet can actually go in them, and like make the relative adjustments because you need to do for kind of the fact that you're a
Yep.
dwarf. And then that's everybody all saddled up. There is another horse, obviously, but I think that was in case someone didn't want to ride on the wagon with him, but he essentially was like, someone needs to drive the wagon.
I mean,
Is Grandel's horse the same sort of darkish, very very dark brown as?
So no, it was kind of same in terms of it's quite skittish,
Yeah.
but it's actually really pale, like the what they called, like almost like the creamy ones. I can't remember what the name of that is.
Bay? Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, it's like a really pale. It's not white. It's like like almost like magnolia,
Yeah, I got you.
with like patches.
I turned to Pierre and went, "Oh, Pierre, thank you very much for the horses. Are we allowed to name them?"
You'll have to ask the horsemaster if they have names. They're not just brand new. I would imagine they already have names, my dear boy.
Well, all right.
Sure.
Yeah. What's this one's name? I turned to the horsemaster.
A swan. He's called Grey.
oh,
Oh no, that won't do. That won't do at all.
Don't
His
come to the
name.
names or anything, so I don't know, Matt. You can
Oh,
call
well,
them what you
yeah.
want.
In that case, I'm gonna call this one Wiggles. It's Wiggles.
What's mine called?
That one is called Creamy.
That's a
This
shame.
guy's great at names.
Is my horse a male or a female?
Male.
Male. Damn.
Yours is the only male horse.
I'll have a think. I'll come up with something appropriate. I'm not calling him fucking Mimi.
I want to still have a horse and tie it to the back of the cart.
Okay, yeah, you can have that. So the only other horse left is the pony.
What?
So there was 5 horses. These 3 have... Wait. Oh, there was... I'm an idiot. Oh, no, one's tied to the cart. One's already hitched to the cart. So there was 5 horses, 3 actual horses... 4 actual horses. One was a draft horse, which is on the cart, and one was a pony that was intended to be for either the halfling or the dwarf.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the agreement was that we all had a horse. A pony is not a horse.
Yes. A horseman. Get a horse. The horsemaster kind of looks like, oh, what, Your Majesty, which Pierre absolutely loves. He was very happy being called Your Majesty, even in jest. And he kind of leads the pony away, and he brings back this kind of like, it's a bit skinny, like a bit like it looks like it's a bit old. And he said, and it's like it's another grey horse, like quite dark grey, very like all patches, and that kind of the mane isn't great, but it probably
That's
holds
fine.
your weight. And he kind of attaches it to the back of the wagon, and says, "That's Chester."
Sure. We ride.
Wagons roll.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, and that begins your journey. You'll make good time. The road out of Final Rest is very well worn, and it's quite quite safe this close to town still. You're obviously leaving at dawn. You'll make it a good distance before it gets dark. A day's travel, you might say.
Oh, might and we.
Hey.
Yeah. John, just in terms of mechanics, your rest, you can say you've rested enough now for that effect from dying. You've obviously been in Final Rest for a couple of days, so that is now
Nice.
past. You're no longer in shock. You've had a nice hot meal, etc.
Is
that was
also
only-
the
that was
case
only-
for my hit points.
You will have all had another short rest. You haven't managed to have a long rest yet. So if you wanted to have, you will now have reset your short rests, because obviously it's another 24 hours. So you will have been able to have a couple of short rests between now and then. But for the sake of convenience, I think yes, we can probably say that you're all back up to top full hit points, and we'll start fresh with this travel. But from this point on, because it's kind of a little bit easier with the traveling, we will start considering this to be kind of the beginning in terms of making sure we're tracking short rests and long rests and stuff accurately, because I think this is a point where it's going to get more important.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because we're no longer kind of safe in town. Because obviously you were safe in town and you spent more than 2 days there. That actually, thinking about it, probably can count as a long rest, because if you're safe, then it doesn't take as long.
You say safe in town, but it did explode around us.
It did, but then there's lots of people there and you're not likely to have bandits come in and stuff.
I see.
And the guy that exploded it also died.
Wow, fair. Okay.
I mean, now that
There might be an
allow it.
earthquake. There might be an earthquake, but you'll be safe here while it happens.
And actually, no
now
one
that we've
died.
finished Chapter 1.
Except the kid.
I mean, what level would you say I advanced to?
7th.
I'm sorry, what?
I said now that we finished Chapter 1. What
You
level
haven't
would
even
say I
started
advanced
chapter
to?
1.
How dare you, sir?
That was
Very
the
idea.
that was the introduction in the start of the book.
That's the prologue,
They-
mate.
Yeah, that they paid like Dan Brown to come in and do. Like, I approve this book. Now this is the book.
No, it was story relevant, but yeah, I think that kind of
But you don't get anything from it.
you leaving Final Rest does kind of mark the first proper step on your journey. You've kind of got a lot of questions you want to answer. This is kind of the beginning of the adventure in terms of the actual, like, you are now essentially going on an adventure.
We've left Hobbiton.
Yeah, I mean, kind
If I
of.
take one step further, this will be the furthest I've ever walked.
And that is
Nobody
literally the
gives a
case
shit,
for
says.
that is literally the case for
About
Gary.
to happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gary Sam! You literally have been carrying Elias around.
Yeah.
That is true.
That means
Wait,
I'm
does that mean-
Gimli, I suppose.
So you do raise a good point, John, though, in terms of advancement. Now, one of the things that I really like about low fantasy gaming is that there is a a way that you can spread out the level up so that it doesn't just happen in one go. It happens kind of spread out across all of the sessions that would make up a level.
Okay.
So essentially, what we're going to do is, at a point where something meaningful has happened, I will make a decision as to whether or not I think that you deserve a portion of advancement, which, in this case, I think is applicable.
Yay.
So we'll say you have advanced a pointer, a markup, and what we're going to do is we're going to roll. So magic users. So John, you're going to roll a d10, and everyone else is going to roll a d8,
Racist.
and you're going to get essentially an advancement that's at random from your next level.
I only get one thing at my next level.
Yeah, but it'll be a case of this will be a thing you get ahead of the next level, essentially.
Okay.
Okay, D10. Boom. It's a 5.
Oh, I got an 8. On my D8.
So you got a 5, John.
Yeah.
So obviously, you know, everyone should have 3 things they get at each at their next level.
So you're breaking in and out.
Sorry, it's probably it started raining here. So everyone should have 3 things that they get each level.
No.
So you
guess.
should get an additional reroll, or an extra use of a class ability,
Right.
or an increased attack bonus, or a new skill, or a unique custom feature, or a new class improvement ability, or a luck increase. Like that's the kind of the things that it will be. So you need to check the table of advancements. So John, you got a 5. So yours is let's have a look at. Sorry, I've managed to take myself by surprise somehow. So magic users at 2nd level, you will get. So your attack bonus goes up to 1. You will get the attuned mind class feature, and what's the other thing?
So I'll get a luck point, an attack bonus, a spell slot, and an attuned mind.
Does everyone get a luck point every level?
Yeah, because it's
Yeah, so
it's
that's the thing you'll get at 3rd level. Second level. So the way this is going to work is essentially the roll picks one of those things at random
Right.
that you'll get this time. Sorry, I've lost the table. So on a 5,
Table up.
Page 111.
110 is the table. So essentially, you roll on this table and you pick, and you get that one or the one that's adjacent. So you will get the class ability, John. So you'll get the attuned mind as yours.
cool.
Grandel, you either get. So what do you get this level at your level 3? So it'll either be hit points or a unique feature, I think.
Hit points, skirmisher, which is the disengage ability, attack bonus, and the luck point, obviously.
So does everyone get hit points every level as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the 4th
And
thing.
actually, looking on the table, it says I got next level's hit points.
Yeah, so that'll be what you get. So your hit points go up.
Awesome.
To be honest, it's not
Sorry,
bad.
it's at least 3 things for each class. My apologies, not 3. So there might be more. So Mark, what did you get?
Let me just roll them bones, I'll tell you. I rolled a 4.
So extra use of a class ability? Did you have class ability increase next level?
Rage.
So do you get a new
So
use of
I
rage?
get 1 rage per level, I believe. Per
So you will now have 2 rages.
Hooray. That's good shit.
Cool. And Nyla, what did you get?
I got a 5.
So that is a new skill if you have one.
What are the skills? New skill.
If you don't have a new skill, do you have a new class ability?
I have steady shot.
So you'll get that instead.
Okay.
You also get Sixth Sense mark as a class ability.
Yes, but that was extra use of a class ability.
Rather than a new one.
So I'm assuming that's rage.
Yeah, so it'll be you kind of get the extra use of it. So that extra use of a class ability would be like with Grandal's and
Reroll an
Nyla's reroll an attack, or the I get to be particularly dexterous, that thing, the Cat's Grace thing. That would be like if you had an increase of the number of those you had, that would be what that would be for that one. So yeah, so in this instance for Mark, it's a rage. So Gary gets an extra rage. Nyla gets a new skill called Steady Shot. Sorry, a new class ability called Steady Shot. Grandal gets some more hit points, and Elias gets the new class ability called Attuned Mind, was it?
Yeah, so I have advantage on sense magic checks and saving
cool.
throws to resist mind affecting spells like charm and sleep and stuff.
That's good.
I just did the dice rolls for my hit points, and I've almost doubled my hit points.
Nice.
Quite nice.
Nice.
And
From 10 to 19.
nice. That's definitely useful. Nyla, what was your Steady Shot? What does that do?
So it says from second level, when making ranged attacks, targets lose up to 2 points of AC bonus due to cover. Additionally, if you miss your target, you never reroll the attack against an ally in the same melee.
So that's useful. So one of the
Nice.
things with attacking into melee, if you're attacking into if Gary and Grandal were attacking someone and you shot into that and you missed the person, there's then a 33% chance that you would hit them instead. But now you've got that feature, that's not going to be an issue.
Oh, cool. So I
It's
can't,
quite cool.
That's
shoot
very
in the map accidentally.
So that's actually a really useful one to get.
You can,
Yeah.
but not by accident.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I could do it on purpose, too.
So essentially, I think you can kind of consider yourselves to be like level 1.5 now, or 1 1/3 rather. So what we'll do is we'll do maybe 1 or 2 of those ahead of the proper level up, where you'll get the rest of the stuff from the level. But what I'm going to do in terms of advancement is I'm going to do it based on kind of landmark sessions, that sort of thing. But I just think I like the randomness of kind of not everyone getting everything all at the same time, and things kind of people progressing in different ways.
That's very cool.
Yes, it's a nice bit of something that the low fantasy gaming system offers, and I think it makes sense to try and use the system to the most of it to its fullest amount. Because obviously we're kind of testing out this new system, we might as well see what all of the different features that it offers are.
Absolutely.
So, at the end of your first day of travel, you manage to bed down for the night. You kind of pull some sleeping mats and some little tents out that Pierre has provided for when you're not in a town or a village, where he'll obviously organise some form of sleeping arrangements for you. And you kind of light a fire and you kind of sit around the fire in the evening. So is there anything you guys want to talk about between yourselves now that you're kind of out of town and on your way to the city?
I will make it very obvious to Pierre that I am anything but interested in small talk.
Right.
On
He
the
would
journey.
have definitely picked up on that during the time.
to the point
Like-
of it being uncomfortable.
Yeah. He will have made like the attempts to talk to you a couple of times, and then probably will have ended up just kind of like trying to talk to someone who was riding nearby. And then I imagine had a similarly bad time trying to get you guys to talk to him.
If he wants us to be his friends, he's probably going to have to pay extra for that.
Yeah, I didn't agree on
He can't afford it.
conversation.
Nice.
I don't know. Gary's pretty friendly with him.
Okay.
I'd be friendly with everyone.
Well,
So you'll probably find that you will have ended up talking to him for most of the day then, Gary,
Yeah.
just like kind of talking about nonsense or just listening to him talk. He's one of those
It's
people who
probably
just
most
likes to
likely
talk. Yeah.
And just like smiling and nodding at him, just like,
Yeah, because you're making the kind of affirmative noises, he's talking to you, whereas Elias is just silent. Or probably even knowing Elias just said, no.
No, not happening.
So go on, Mark, sorry.
I was just gonna ask him how far is it to the next like village or town?
I think, if memory serves, the next village where we'll be able to hopefully stay at an inn is another 2 days, I think. There might be a farm along the way where we might be able to get some better food, but other than that, it's about 2 days, I think.
Oh right, okay, all right. Well, I don't mind, sleeping outside and that. There's no dramas, but I really appreciate you letting us come along with you and offering our services and that. It's a chance. Really, I'm looking to kind of go into this a little bit easier, a little bit full time.
Oh.
So, any references that you can give me in the future would be great. If you don't
Oh,
mind.
if you perform well, I'm sure I'll make sure to give you what you need to make it in this world. Everybody has been provided.
Creepiest guy.
Everybody has been provided with their tent. Obviously, if it gets too cold, the further north we get, it is beginning to get to winter. There may be a necessity to share to maintain body heat. Okay.
Yeah.
So-
It's at that point that Gary decides don't don't make too much small talk with this creepy man.
Earlier
Thank
on
you.
in the day, Grandal drifted to the back of the caravan on his horse and just very discreetly swapped all of the gold coins from Pierre's pouch that he nicked into his own sort of money bags.
Nice.
And at this point, while we're sat around the fire, whilst Pierre is clearly distracted by Gary, he just pushes Pierre's purse into the fire and lets it burn away the evidence.
Cool. Give me. Is there like a sleight of hand skill?
Yeah.
Learn these skills.
There's traps and no, sleight of hand. There we go.
Yeah, give me a sleight of hand. Yeah.
That is a 7, which is a great success.
Yeah, you wait for a moment where Pierre is just kind of gazing at Gary, making him feel uncomfortable, and you manage to just chuck it into the fire and poke it with a stick so it goes underneath a log.
Nice.
And yeah, the evidence has been destroyed.
Wonderful.
Is it already dark?
Yep, it'll be. So you will have kind of stopped for the night as it was beginning to get dark. It's obviously getting dark quite early now, just because it's kind of late autumn and there's still not much of a moon in the sky, to be honest. So you can't travel a great distance in the evenings because it's getting to the point where, in fact, tomorrow night is it's now the moon is coming back. Now it was the new moon the last 2 days, and then now the moon is coming back a bit more. It's waxing. Is that the right one? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a waxing moon at the moment, and it's the autumn equinox tomorrow. Just in terms of where we are in the year.
Is there any sort of scrubland or tree land or anything that I could hunt anything?
So the road actually hugs the Mage's forest, the Mage's Folly forest for the first kind of 2 days or so. The next town is essentially another town that's just off of the forest. It's kind of the closest one to Final Rest. So that's kind of where the next, I say town, village is. That's where the next kind of settlement is. You are along the side of the Mage's Folly Wood. Obviously, you know that that's not necessarily the best place to go hunting. But
Yeah.
kind of north, sorry, not north. West of that is kind of just scrubland and farmland. Little patches of trees here and there. Kind of almost like West Country. Kind of just farmland that's just is...
Perfect.
Yeah. So there'll be
That's
rabbits
like-
and things, yeah.
Yeah, scare off a rabbit.
Yeah, definitely. Give me what would that be? Wilderness law to try and kind of what's the word?
Yeah, I would say so.
Figure something
Yeah,
out.
I'd say wilderness law.
Yeah, because that's kind of to try and find a rabbit, and then you can kind of give me some attacks, maybe.
So that's a great success. I rolled a 5.
Yeah, so you managed to find, you managed to, figure out where a rabbit is, and you can track it, and you can attempt to kill it.
The actually a rabbit is.
Just give me an attack roll.
That's a 12.
Yeah, that'll be easy enough to hit, and you won't need to roll damage on that. It's a case of whether or not you fail miserably. But yeah, you ping it and you kind of manage to catch a rabbit. Because it's a great success, I'm going to say you actually managed to catch a couple. So just it was kind of just a general figuring out how accurate you were. So I think without too much issue, you can kind of disappear off in the early evening and catch a couple of rabbits.
Cool. I'll bring them back to the fire, and if we've got a fire, I assume we have got a fire.
Yeah, you got a fire. Yeah.
And then I'll skin them and put them on the fire.
Sweet, yeah. Everyone is kind of very impressed with that, I think. Pierre is very impressed and says, who would have thought the elf would be so good at killing things?
I'm gonna I'm not even gonna smile. I was gonna smile, but I'm like, that's just gonna encourage him. So I'm just gonna blank face stare at him and then go back to my cleaning.
He'll kind of very delicately nibble on a rabbit leg once they're done.
Yeah.
He won't ask; he'll just take it. But yeah, kind of not able to, even for him, able to stand the awkward silence any longer. He'll eventually just be like, "I will be going to sleep now. Make sure you do a watch and such. I'm sure you can figure that out with yourselves." And he goes to his tent and kind of beds down for the night.
As soon as he kind of goes down, you see like genuine relief as like Gary's muscles relax. It's just like, oh wow, like this guy.
Your first mistake, Gary, was actually talking to the man.
He was like trying to like hold me for warmth or something. I don't. Are we going to die?
It's
Randall
possibly
removed-
worse than death.
Randall removes some large chunks of bread from his ears and goes, "Oh, thank goodness he's gone to bed."
Anyway, good night, guys. I'm going to bed. Figure out the watch amongst yourselves. And I do just that.
Oh dear. Okay, I don't mind doing a watch. I only
don't-
do 6 hours sleep anyway. So
Well, some of us are gonna have to do a watch. So I'll take first. I'll take first watch.
All right, I'll take third, I guess.
I'll take second then.
Look at Grandor and be like, make sure you get Elias up to do his share of the watch.
I mean, how long are we watching for each?
Well, if we do it for 3 hours each, and you see him hold out his fingers.
More than
One,
fingers that you've got.
2. That's like 7 hours each.
Close.
I just gave my 10.
Oh god.
All right, no, that's fine, Gary. I'll see you in 7 hours then, yes?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, see you in 7 hours. And
See you later. Good night.
Poor Gary.
So Gary is awake now, watching. So you kind of sit by the fire, Gary, and you're probably munching on some of that rabbit still. Are you gonna? Sounds like a silly question, but are you gonna take the watch seriously? You're gonna kind of sit up and make sure
I
you
am
stay awake and
stood like a sentinel. Like
Nice.
I'm taking this
like in the center
very,
of
very
camp.
seriously.
Nice. Give me a perception roll or detection if you have detection.
That is, I need perception score is 14. I rolled a 15, so there's a fail.
Cool. So yeah, you kind of it's a nice calm night. Give me an intelligence check.
Oh god. No, that's a terrible failure.
Cool.
No,
So yeah, you
unsurprisingly.
you kind of stand there, and it's really nice, quiet evening. You know, you're just beginning to kind of get real into it. And then give me con.
Now that I can do. It's not a great success. I rolled a 9. I needed an 8 for a great success, but it is
Cool.
a success.
So yeah, so you kind of stand there and you're watching and nothing's happening and it's quite boring, but you're watching because you're on watch and it's very
This is
important.
probably hour 5.
And then you're like, actually, I'm quite tired. And you go and kind of rouse Grandel. And
Me next.
oh, sorry, you
Hey,
go and
wait.
rouse Nyla
Oh yeah.
because Nyla's second watch. Obviously, you have no way of knowing what time it is, really. But yeah, Gary wakes you up for your watch.
Okay. I grab Bear and I go put another log on the fire to just keep it burning. And yeah, I take my watch.
Awesome. You get about an hour or two into the watch. Give me perception.
Perception. That's a success.
So you don't see anything particularly interesting, other than the fact that the sun starts to rise.
I sort of look around and I'm like, what? Just like trying to do maths in my head. Just like,
Yeah.
that makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. Gary basically stood there for most of the night, just thinking he was only there for a few hours. And as the sun begins to rise, you notice something on the horizon.
I will look at it.
Give me another. So give me. Do you have detection or do you just have perception?
I have detection, yeah.
Give me detection this time. Now you've noticed something.
That is a success at 16.
Cool. You see a dust cloud, and as you notice it, you also begin to feel kind of reverberation through the ground at your feet. The thunderous kind of echo of hooves coming towards you at quite a pace, and you think that's probably coming from that dust cloud. And you think, looking at it, it's going to be on to you soon. By mid-morning, at the very latest.